Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to SBS Fair in 2025. Today, we would like to introduce you our new industrial cybersecurity zero trust software, SINEC Secure Connect. And SINEC Secure Connect, in this session, you will learn how to master your cybersecurity challenges with regards of usability, security in IT and OT converged networks. You will be guided here by me, Lars Weiboges, and Hanna Balazhova. Like you all know, for Siemens, the topic of cybersecurity is a very important field since a lot of years. We have their various products, what you can see here all over the booth, what we are presenting here, but this is really a core topic for us. The world keeps turning. More and more devices and machines directly from the cell to the internet, to the cloud, and to various distributed systems are interconnected to each other. And this brings, especially for IT-OT converged networks, a lot of challenges regarding to OT cybersecurity. So, Hanna, I think there are a lot of unsolved problems. So, where are traditional approaches reaching their limit there?
Good question, Lars. At Siemens, we already have an extensive range of cybersecurity solutions. But let's be honest, traditional security concepts are often complex in terms of administration and prone to configuration errors. With that, it is pretty difficult to achieve end-to-end security across the network boundaries. So far, there hasn't been any truly comprehensive and satisfactory solution available yet. This gap, we are now closing with SINEC Secure Connect.
Yeah, that's right. SINEC Secure Connect will solve it. But let's have a look and imagine how this looks like at your on-premise on customer field. That means today, if you just want to communicate from these two assets to one and the other, how does that typically work today? This typically works that you have to go from this one asset to the upper layer, to the aggregation network, to the backbone, and then also to the data center and come back. And on this way, you have to configure a lot of firewalls, a lot of routers, gateways, and so on. There are a lot of systems involved in this direction to make this communication between those two assets possible. And due to the fact that there are a lot of services, firewalls, users, and a lot of different technicians involved, this makes the configuration of that in the end very, very complex to manage your whole OT network. Another challenge what we have here is also that we are having there at the moment, you all know it, a lack of experts. Because these complex systems, for every system you have an expert, and you need all of them to make the whole thing happen. So that's why it's very complicated also to have all of them on board. And additionally, we have there also some regulatory requirements. When you think of Cyber Resilience Act, NIS2, and also the requirements for encryption, authentication, and so on, there are a lot of things what you have to care for with, also in every level of that stage. This makes it very complex. And these challenges, what we have there, so how does SINEC Secure Connect help there to solve this?
What if you didn't have to deal with all those details? What if you could simply define who is allowed to communicate with whom, purely from an application perspective? And this exactly we are now enabling with SINEC Secure Connect. With that, we fully follow the principle of the zero trust. Never trust, always verify. No users, no devices, no assets, no systems are supposed to be implicitly trusted by default, even if located inside the network. To achieve that, we virtualize the entire network in a so-called overlay. This is a software-defined, independent layer that is put on top of your existing infrastructure. With that, we can cover various communication use cases like machine-to-machine communication, machine to the cloud, cloud to the machine, or machine to the data center, and also remote access. So you just don't need to deal with all those complicated changes, for example, to your firewall configurations and rules. Additionally, SINEC Secure Connect is also accessible. So you just don't need to have your highly skilled and educated experts still behind the back in order to work with your policies.
Yeah, and especially this overlay network, what you already introduced to us, where SINEC Secure Connect is consisting of, these overlay networks consist of two main parts. The first part is the data plane, and the second thing is the control plane, where this network consists of. Yeah. So let's have a look here also on this picture on the control plane. The control plane is in the end the brain of the whole network. That means users and all participants, or also every machine, every service what is connected to this overlay network gets there a unique identity to authenticate themselves. Yeah, and also this network there is also managed with a central configuration controller. That means the whole data plane is managed by one central controller for central management. And there also you can define there the data exchange rules, so which application and which service has explicitly access rights to another application and the service. We are not talking about connecting networks to each other. We are talking about directly connecting services and applications. So, because then you will not have an access to maybe to an unsecure area of a network because some IP addresses or rights or the infrastructure has changed. You're directly, very fine granular connecting these services and applications together. Yeah. And all of that is configured in so-called security policy on a central way, very easy and easy manageable. And this is already the first step to real zero trust. Now let's have a look at the second layer. This is the data plane. Yeah? On the data plane, there all the data transport takes place. That means all the data which is transferred from position A to position B goes over the data plane. This is also a main important part over the network. And there we have a lot of points into the data in the data plane who routes the traffic. These are so-called edge routers. And there's always the traffic following the shortest and efficientest path who it can be in that network. And it's always also following the rules of the control plane. So that means who can communicate with which other. So that there you have their highest security and highest availability in that network.
And what does it all mean to you? With SINEC Secure Connect, your communication routes are no more rigid, but can be flexibly adjusted to your requirements. Your devices and services are no more visible from the outside, which reduces the attack surface as the potential attackers can no longer identify your valuable assets. SINEC Secure Connect is also flexible and very scalable. So it doesn't matter if you are just growing your network or if you do renovate your brownfield right now. A key component of the solution is the micro-segmentation based on zero trust. With that, we break down your network to the smallest possible areas where every access must be explicitly authorized. The important part of the whole solution is that you don't need to do any changes to your existing infrastructures. You just don't need to turn your network upside down, and you still achieve time, effort, and cost savings all together. And we were also talking about the lack of the professionals. Of course, it would be great to have an infinitive number of the people behind my back, but SINEC Secure Connect makes it also easy for you, as it is accessible, very intuitive to use for any adjustments of the policies. Correct, Lars?
Yes, you're totally right. So in the end, SINEC Secure Connect is the answer to your complex industrial cybersecurity challenges. It gives to you a high secure, flexible, and easy to manage network. It protects your existing infrastructure, and it makes your whole network future-proof. SINEC Secure Connect is already today available, and we have there today available a cloud version, a as-a-service version, what you can already buy today. There, the benefits are that it's very scalable and very easy to start. And also, next year, we will have there also the next version with SINEC Secure Connect on-premise. And there, we will give all the software to you to host it also on your premise to have the maximum control over the whole network. If you want to know more details about all this stuff, yeah, you can discover it on our booth there on the left behind there on our stand number 49. Please go there, have a look at our magic table, and yeah, we will welcome you, and thank you for your time, and we will see.
Enjoy the fair.
Thank you.